Welcome back to the channel. I finally got a Tesla on it. This is an S. It's white, as you can see. I'm not blind. Are you blind? It's very, very expensive. It's very, very cool. Will I be convinced in this video as to whether I need a Tesla in my life or not, or whether you need a Tesla in your life? Because chances are, maybe if you're watching this with a view to buying it, you've got more cash than I do. We're going to take a look at practicality, the tech in it, how they operate, do they drive like any old normal car, and then how much space is in them for transporting people. Is there enough room in the back for 3 adults, 2 baby seats? What's the boot like? How far is the range? I'm going to cover it all in this video. So sit back, relax. There's nothing to do or go anywhere anyway. Let's check this one out together. Welcome to the Tesla Model S here on Nobby on Cars. Now I do want to explain that these cars, nearly all of them have really functional, usable boots. They are ginormous. In fact, there's been models of the S where you can get 2 extra seats in the back and make it a 7-seater. Yes, the seats roll into the back of the car, then I'd nearly say it's like a van. You get a parcel shelf. Now, this does feel a bit flimsy for the price of the car. There are still certain things with build quality in Tesla that I'm not 100% convinced by. Even how that clips in, it just kind of sits there. You can move it around, doesn't really lock into place as such. But then there's a massive area down here. And it's like another compartment, because this car has a frunk, and that fits underneath there very, very easily. But for such a spaceship of a car, there's no kind of nets for hooking things into place. There is more storage, a little pocket down here. No 12 volts. It's got a big massive battery underneath, you know. Put a 12 volt in the boot, for Christ's sake. I'm probably nitpicking though. You might have noticed there's no cables in that part of the car. That's cause it hasn't got a bonnet as such. It does have a front bum. No, that's just weird. We just call it a front boot, maybe in this part of the world. Your key, double tap, up it pops. And in here is where you can keep cables. There's more storage in fact as well, because you don't need to keep all your cables in there. So, this is what a Tesla charger looks like. Nothing fancy apart from the silver bit. You get a granny plug that goes into that, so you can actually charge it at home. There's a light in here that you can turn on at night time if it's dark. Tesla give you little pouches to keep cables in, and they even give you things like this, which will plug into other versions of chargers, so you can hook it up to pretty much any option that you're going to need. I've mentioned Dark and EV on the channel a couple of times because they've fitted me with a home charger, which would have been great this week, except for one thing. The sound people at Tesla didn't give me a DC cable that connects with the car, and my charger at home is untethered. Basically, there's no cable attached to it, so I can review different vehicles. And that meant I had to go to a Tesla Supercharger, which was kind of good to see. I'll let you know how I got on with that later on in the video. This is a long-range version of the S, which means on full charge it will do just over 600 kilometers from one single charge, which I don't think anyone really can argue with. That's pretty good going. So let's have a little look around the back of the car. They're famous for their flat floors. Just how flat is it? Let's have a little look here. The doors of these things open massively wide, which really does help you getting in and out with child seats, boxes, the stuff that life gives, man. And the flat floor is amazing. It means a fully grown adult can quite comfortably sit in the middle of even 2 child seats, not be trying to do weird acrobatics with their legs, and just fit in. Again, back here, it doesn't feel like the price of the car. There's 2 USBs and there's conditioning here, but you can't control it. There's some pretty fancy looking cup holders, yeah, but there's a lot of plastic. Now then there's Alcantara here, which feels very, very plush. There's no door bins in the doors. Hey Elon Musk, why is that? Eco people want to carry stuff as well. I don't know why there's no solutions there to store bits and pieces. It really would make life easier. There's nothing on the back of the seats either to iPads, books, nothing. Isn't even an armrest. What's going on with that? Yeah, they're nice seats and they are comfortable. Bit restrictive here because these are so wide. You've nowhere to store anything. You've no armrests for longer journeys if you don't have a middle passenger. You can't control your climate here at the back. And most cars that are diesel or petrol or even hybrids at this price will let you do all those things. Porsche Panamera, for example, similar car, similar price, will do all those things, and the seats are more comfortable. Oh yeah, I should say there's quite obviously two ISOFIX seats in the back of the car. That warning's to tell me I don't have my seatbelt on, and then it stops. If you're looking for loads of buttons and stuff, you're probably in the wrong car for physical buttons. You have this massive tablet that controls everything. Climate, Spotify, radio, nav, suspension setup, find me a supercharger, open the charging port on the car. Everything is really, really easy to use, but all behind this screen. So if you're a bit of a technophobe, you're probably not interested in a Tesla if you are, but you mightn't be too sure about the interior. Now, versus a 2016 model, which was the last one I've driven, the build quality is a lot better. Plastics feel better. There's still there's still give in things that shouldn't really give. But that big ridiculous drawer that just used to pop out here, like, it made IKEA stuff look really, really high end. IKEA is another example of stuff that just works. And Tesla, by and large, it is. You have buttons here. There's different functions on them, not just what they say, volume, voice activation. You can do a lot with the car. You can actually restart all the computer systems in it by holding down these two buttons and give the car a reboot if you need to do that. There's no gear shifter, that's on an indicator stock. Again, it's easy to use. This is your radar guided cruise. It also does the autopilot at a double click like that. I'll explain more a bit later on in the video. Two little sliding armrests here with more cup holders, but you can't lift that area up. That's a big, it's an awful waste of space. You could put loads in there. Some USB charging options here. No USB-C in this car. 12 volts. You can cover this all away. Nicely dampened here. So yeah, that kind of stuff is definitely an improvement. And it'll draw here for your phone. Although it's hard to keep your phone in there as soon as you use the acceleration of the car because it just keeps flying out. Yes, you can make it fart in different seats. You can even change the type of fart it is. And if you're really weird, you can also do it that you can make that noise every time you're changing lane in the car or using the indicators. Have a warm, cozy fire, lighting in the background again. Whatever you're into. Here's a really good channel you should subscribe to actually while you're here. Oh, I wonder what that channel's like. And there's tons of reviews, including e-Niro EV that's getting thousands of views at the moment. But there is also the Nissan Leaf. There's plenty of electric cars for you to check out. Maybe you're more interested in something like the BMW 3 Series. I've also got a review of the Audi e-tron, so if you want to have a little look at that.
Welcome back to Nobby on Cars. This is the...
Shut 'em up. If you're interested in the Tesla, you might be interested in the e-tron. My mission this week was not necessarily to convince myself about electric cars. I'm all for them. I've plenty of them booked into the channel this year, and I am a fan of Tesla. I just wanted to see, were they really that much more special? Were they worthy of the price and the extra cost involved? I think after living it for a week, I kind of am there. Like, things like the 3 are quite a bit more affordable, and benefit in kind solutions and stuff make ownership a little bit easier. But yeah, I think I'm a bit more convinced now that the week is over. Anyway, let's go for a spin and check it out and see what the performance is all about. There is no other car that I've driven, electric or otherwise to be fair, that feels like it has that same burst of torque. That's something about Teslas. If you've never sat in one, if you've never driven one, you just can't be prepared for the shove in the back that you get. And I've driven a Ferrari, And yeah, trust me, they're insane, but it's a different kind of power delivery. It kind of allows your brain to go, okay, something's about to happen here. But in the Tesla, you just put your foot down and it's like foot, everything, head, everything stuck to the back of the chair, the back of the car. So that really never gets tiring. You're always going to want to do that. Doesn't matter what you do. I have personally tweaked it that the suspension is sitting really low, and that's going to give you better handling as well. It's pretty sharp through corners, you know. It's a heavy car. Tesla fanatics will tell you that the S isn't the most engaging of drives out of all the lineup, but I found it pretty good, I have to say. I can't really knock that. You feel confident going into corners. Brakes are good. You know, if you're looking for a driver's car, you won't have any complaints. Foot to the floor. Unbelievable acceleration. The car just boots along. Like there's nothing to describe that burst of torque. And suddenly cars in front are getting bigger and bigger. And you've got to scale it back, but jeez, that power is just ferocious and amazing at the same time. Do they handle well? Well, yeah. My experience would be that they do and they can. These are properly quick cars. So you have Tesla's Autopilot System, which you basically pop on your cruise, you pull it back twice on the stalk, and if you want to change lanes, then what I like about it, by the way, is if you're in a 60 zone, for example, it'll tell you that if you want me to do autopilot and auto steer, I'm sticking to the speed limit, pal. But then if you want to change lanes, the car will actually do it for you. You just overtaking, you don't have to touch the steering wheel at all, and there's just a safety feature in the car that if you want to change back into the lane, then obviously you can spot cars all around you with the sensor systems in it, but it will then just require a gentle tug of the steering wheel, so you could basically tell the car it's okay, pull me back into the inside lane again. Fantastic how it works. It's been absolutely flawless. Now, if you like, Tesla are famous for having these, or those cars drive themselves, don't they? They can, and they do, but not in Ireland. So as soon as you take your hands off the steering wheel for any significant length of time, the car will remind you to just gently have inputs on the steering wheel. And that's fine. If you do that, it will auto steer all day long for you. But you kind of every so often either touch the steering wheel or just gently have your hands on the steering wheel, like I do now. And so the car is doing the significant work of steering for you. But if you take your hands off for any sort of space of time where the car isn't happy, it will give you a warning. And if you repeatedly do it, red displays come on. It will tell you autopilot is no longer available for the rest of this journey. You've been a bold boy, basically. And the radar guided cruise will still work, but just the autopilot steering and things like changing lanes on motorways won't work anymore because you haven't been behaving yourself. I'm sure there's a way to possibly override that, but they're the laws in Ireland.
Like so many aspects of electric vehicle ownership in Ireland, however, the superchargers and the amount of them fall well below par. The infrastructure and cost factor is significant, but with just 3 Tesla superchargers in the Republic of Ireland, it's simply not enough.
So just about to head onto the M50 now here in Dublin, and it's clear. It's 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. I love that little wine. Lane is now clear. I'm flooring it. It's just gone. To me, it's the equivalent of when you're taking off in a plane that initial rush as you just hear 2 or 4 massive engines spool up and you're propelled into your seat and you know that your holidays are just about to begin. That's what it feels like every time. You always feel like the car is watching ahead for you. You can see cars in the distance, motorcyclists, trucks. The graphics on the display here change obviously according to whatever vehicle you're whizzing on by. The Tesla Superchargers in Ireland are 29 cent per kilowatt, which for a full full battery in this car would cost you about €29. You're not meant to be relying on the Superchargers for charging your Tesla, so that's more just, oh damn, I need an outburst. And a burst it is. It will give you, like in this case, 200 kilometers in about 15 minutes. It was staggering. Like the speed, it was charging at 100 kilowatts. Then a couple of other Teslas came along, an X and a 3, they plugged in, and I could see the charging capacity dropped a little bit. Now, still more than you're going to get from an ESP standard charger, the fast chargers in Ireland, but it did drop. The energy consumption lets you figure out that, you know, you could do sort of 17 kilowatts of power, and that might cost you like €3, and that's paying the full rate here in Ireland. At home, if you have a night meter or you've shopped around, that's less, you know. And that type of performance from a car for less than the price of a coffee, a couple of days driving, that's all right. Now there is the small little matter of the price of the car, but let's not bring that up. So my first experience at the end of last year with a Tesla wasn't great. I had a situation in the car where the electrics just didn't seem to want to work. The car wouldn't open. If you were locked inside, you couldn't get out. The car wouldn't drive. Parking brake wouldn't work. The car ended up having to be towed away. But there was obviously something wrong with that car, the same as things break down in lots of cars. Some people would describe these as the Apple of the motoring world. You know, they just work. And this car this week, I'd have to agree with that. It's been absolutely faultless. Now, these are very expensive cars. They're toys for the wealthy, to be fair. Prices of used Teslas coming down all the time though. So easy to drive, so simple, engaging enough, good feedback through the steering wheel, good performance, looks good. There's a lot to like with these cars. Adjust my phone. That's the seat of your pants feeling with the torque. It's like as if you're in free fall on a water slide. That's the exact same feeling. And you're getting that all the time. And going about your business. It's class. Tesla, you have convinced me. Well done. Thanks for watching.